Hi, this is Cody with Core Inspection Services. I'm out here at 1812 Debonaire Drive in Modesto. I just want to do a little video walkthrough with you guys to show you a few of the things that I found. Overall, the house looks fantastic. I didn't really have hardly any calls on the outside. The only things that I had was over here on this front left side. There was a little bit of moisture standing. It looks like the gutter might be leaking a little bit. Something you definitely want to make sure is repaired. Let me see if I can get on the glare of the sun. So you can see it's leaking there and a couple places. You just want to make sure that is repaired up really well, just to make sure that the water is getting away from the house, because over time, oh, that doesn't open. Moisture could get down. You could see and get to the fascia, that little board right behind it there, and potentially cause some wood deterioration. And the other thing that I had on the outside was over on the left side of the structure. There was a couple foundation vent screens that were damaged, had some holes in them. You just want to make sure those are repaired as well, just to prevent, insect and vermin intrusion of the sub area. Don't want anything in there, get underneath there, it could cause some damage. The biggest thing that you're going to see in my report is there's quite a few ungrounded electrical receptacles. What I'm thinking here is that they just switched out all the plugs from a 2-prong to a 3-prong and didn't actually ground them because of the style of wiring that was in the house. It didn't have the third wire to ground it. So I definitely would suggest getting an electrician out here, make sure that all those are grounded, just because they could potentially be a safety hazard because the plugs are not protected. In the garage, another electrical call here. This wire over by the garage guide there, this is a live wire. We would definitely want to see that in a box, just because you don't want to reach up there to do something and accidentally touch those wires and get electrocuted, because they are live. In the garage as well, up here, this little valve, it looks like it's the water supply line for the refrigerator. Moisture, you can see a little bit right there, kind of dried up, but it is dripping right underneath here at this valve. We definitely want to make sure that that is repaired, just because you don't want moisture on top of the water heater. It could potentially cause some damage there. In the garage, there's a couple missing cover plates. No big deal there. We definitely just want to see those installed so that there's no access to live wires. The kitchen is fantastic. All the appliances seem to work very well. Ran the dishwasher, oven, range hood, those things. The garbage disposal did work fine, but when you turn it on, it definitely sounds like there's something stuck in there. And I tried to look down in there to see if there was, and I couldn't. So I definitely want to make sure that whatever's in there is out. The master bedroom door, a little hard to open and close. It looks like they just maybe put a thicker pad or something underneath it, the carpet, when they replaced it. But it also, it's kind of hard to open and close, and it won't latch. I just believe that this striker plate, sorry, get that view a little better, is just not lined up. Back in here, in the hall bathroom here, we had a couple areas, a little bit of cracked grout down here where the tile floor meets the tub. You definitely want to make sure that that's either sealed up with some caulking or regrouted, just so that getting in and out of the shower, moisture doesn't get down in there and access the subfloor. Let me keep going here. Oh, there was a little bit of moisture staining. You can see down here to the false bottom underneath the whole bathroom sink. There was active moisture here, but it looks like these valves have been replaced, so I didn't find a leak while I was underneath there. But something to look into, just make sure that those water valves are not leaking. Back here, in this right rear bedroom, there is a fuse sub panel. This style of wiring is considered obsolete. So we always, every time we see them, we suggest excuse me, that you have it reviewed by a licensed electrician, just because it could potentially be a hazard, and like I said, this style wiring is obsolete, so we'd like to see those updated at the earliest convenience. They're also in that sub-panel is what we call either a double tap or a triple tap. It's when you run more than one wire to either a breaker or a fuse. There is one fuse in there that is triple tap, so there's 3 wires to one fuse. Usually the cause of that is because they wanted more power somewhere else and there wasn't any more connections, either breakers or fuses, so they just ran multiple wires to it. The hazard with that is that multiple wires into one connection could potentially, from the electricity flowing through the wires, heat up and cause damage to either the panel or the breaker or the fuse. And hopefully it would trip. If not, it could potentially cause some fire hazard there too. So definitely want to make sure that the electrical system is looked at by an electrician because of the plugs, that fuse panel, and the main electrical panel out on the rear of the house out here. Didn't want to go out there. There's a landscape guy out there weed eating and stuff. But the panel is manufactured by a company called Zinsco. And Zinsco is known to have problems because the panel is manufactured with aluminum bus bars. And what that means is that's a connection from the breakers to the panel. And they're known to heat up and break. I didn't visibly see anything, but you do need to pull the breakers out further to examine that to make sure that it is okay, which I am not able to do. So definitely suggest that is looked at by an electrician as well. Up in the attic, when I went up in there, which you'll see in the report, there was some moisture staining to areas of the roof sheeting over here, over the dining room area, and it just appears that it is on the old picket style. So for either they had a tile roof or some sort of shake roof or something before they installed this one. I didn't get any active moisture up there. So it appears to be old, as well as in the hall bathroom sewer vent that runs through the roof. There was some moisture staining around it and the insulation at the bottom. But once again, all of the flashings and sealant on the roof looked fantastic, so it appears to be old as well. Same with, here's a good example. You can see that there is some moisture staining and some calcium buildup on this. Exhaust fluid for the heater. When I got up in the attic, it looked fantastic up there. I didn't see any moisture staining around that or anything on the roof that suggests that there was a leak. So this appears to be old as well before the roof was replaced. Down underneath the house, it looked pretty good down there. There was some moisture staining along the rim joist, which is at the top of the foundation, the board that runs horizontal across the back of the house. So there was some moisture staining. It's probably just from the soils in the back of the house. You know, it kind of grades towards the house. You might get a little standing water if there was a lot of rainfall. So it'd be a good idea to make sure that all the grading around the house is really good so that that moisture isn't trying to access the sub area. Also, I was underneath there. The master bathroom shower drain was leaking a little bit, not crazy, but it definitely something that you want to be, we would like to see repaired because it was leaking. The only other thing that I had underneath there was the drain line running from the kitchen sink across underneath the house and connecting into the main sewer line underneath the bathrooms. There was some evidence of, there's a little rust on there, and looks like it was leaking at some point at the joints. I didn't see any leak while I was underneath there, but I don't know how long this house has been vacant, and I only ran, the sink for about 5 minutes or so. So after you guys move in, it would be a good idea to review that from, time to time, just to make sure that that line isn't leaking. Other than that, I know there's quite a few things, but I would say that the main thing would be to just get the electrical system just checked out by an electrician and see what he says about it and the things that he can do to update it. Other than that, it looks fantastic. Thank you so much for letting us inspect your home.